Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily, the first English news program in Poland. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee. President of the European Council, Donald Tusk, returned to Poland on May 3rd to give a speech expected to signal his return to Polish politics. Ahead of the speech, the editor-in-chief of the Liberte newspaper, Leszek Jażdżewski, took to the stage and attacked the Polish Catholic Church. Representatives of the Polish government are now responding to the growing anti-clerical tendencies growing within the Polish center-left.
The Catholic Church in Poland, loaded with many unexplained child sexual abuse scandals, lost its role as the conscience of the nations. Nowadays, many black magicians try to get the souls of Poles by using spells and manipulations. But the fight with them doesn't make any sense, because when you fight with a pig in the mire, after a few hours you'll only find that the pig likes it.
The editor-in-chief of the Liberte newspaper, Leszek Jażdżewski's speech is seen as yet another act of aggression towards the Catholic Church. The leader of the Law and Justice Party, Jarosław Kaczyński, responded to his speech.
The Church is also a depository of the important values for people, even for atheists. Whoever raises their hand to strike the Church raises their hand towards Poland.
The Civic Platform Party cut itself off the Jażdżewski statement. The spokesman of the party, Jan Grabiec, stated that the form of this speech was unacceptable, but explains it by saying that it's a result of the crisis of this institution at the same time.
There are bishops who say that the tolerance should be soft. If we're talking about some sort of crusade against the Church, which the Church don't know how to fight, then I'm afraid that the Church will lose its authority.
The member of the Cookies 15 movement, Agnieszka Ścigaj, said that she doesn't understand this line of thinking. The fact that the Catholic Church admits to its mistakes is a sign of maturity. The Church is a community. All the people create the Church. We can't look at the whole community because of the mistakes of some people. According to the Minister of Interior and Administration, Joachim Brudziński, the Jażdżewski speech was a part of Donald Tusk's hate campaign.
I want to ask for one thing. Don't take part in this circus. We should do what we think is right. Let them fight wherever they want.
The latest happenings have shown that the aggression against the Catholic Church is a political fuel which many political parties use before the upcoming European Parliament elections. Everything indicates that the same strategy will be used before the Polish Parliament elections scheduled in the fall.
The Prime Minister of Poland, Mateusz Morawiecki, addressed the demands by the U.S. government and Jewish NGOs toward Poland concerning World War II reparations on Twitter today. In the tweet, the Prime Minister awarded strong opposition against Poland paying reparations for heirless Jewish property to Jewish NGOs.
Poles should have every right to be proud of their history, heritage, culture, and to celebrate under the white and red flag. We remember the tragic fate of the Polish nation during the Second World War, so there will be no agreement from us concerning the reparations.
This year's European Parliament election is highlighted by the active participation of the Deputy Chairman of the European Commission, Frans Timmermans, who appeared to have sided with the political campaign of the European Coalition Opposition Party in Poland. The Dutch politician stated that he is supporting the forces of reason in Poland, referring to Robert Biedron's Spring and the Democratic Left Alliance parties.
It's not the first time the Deputy Chairman of the European Commission responsible for assessing the rule of law in European countries has taken on an active role in a Polish political campaign. A month ago, Frans Timmermans met with the Spring Party leader Robert Biedroń, and tomorrow he'll be taking part in a debate about the future of the EU. Among other politicians attending, there will be the former President of Poland, Aleksander Kwaśniewski, and Leszek Miller, the former leader of the Democratic Left Alliance Party. Following the debate, Deputy Chairman Timmermans is to hand out flyers at the Castle Square in Warsaw, encouraging Poles to vote for the European coalition.
Pan Timmermans teraz, wspierając czy to Włodzimierza Cimoszewicza.
Mr. Timmermans, by supporting Włodzimierz Cimoszewicz or Mr. Czarzasty, has finally shown his true colors and where his allegiances lie. He's supporting the leftovers of the communist totalitarian regime, and I think it's good that he stopped pretending he's not politically involved in Poland's affairs. Of course, he's doing that to build his own position in the EU. As it turns out, Mr. Timmermans never understood the communist regime. He sees no absurdity in talking about the respect for democracy and at the same time supporting those who serve Moscow.
It seems Mr. Timmermans has no idea who the communists were and what was post-communism. They weren't democratic, they were the exact opposite. By supporting such politicians, he's only disrupting the democratic processes in Poland, and that unfortunately says a lot about the current state of the EU. However, Franz Timmermans' help does not come for free. If politicians of the Left Democratic Alliance get into the European Parliament, they are to join the European Socialist, Franz Timmermans' party. The European Parliament elections are to take place on May 26th. Polls will be choosing 52 MEPs.
The European elections will take place in less than 3 weeks, and the electoral campaign is picking up pace. One of the leaders of the nationalist camp, leader of the French National Rally, Marine Le Pen, is calling on the ruling parties in Poland and Hungary to join her party group, the ENF, following the election.
The German candidate of the European People's Party for president of the European Commission, Manfred Weber, was campaigning today in the city of Hanover. Austrian Prime Minister Sebastian Kurz was also there to support him. Manfred Weber argued that it's important to not let nationalist forces rule Europe.
This Europe in which we are allowed to live today is a Europe that we have built. It is our Europe. It is a Christian democratic, Christian, social Europe, and ahead of the 2019 election, I want to say I will do everything I can to defend this Europe, and I will not allow nationalists to ruin this Europe. We are going to preserve it. It belongs to us.
Sebastian Kurz stated that Weber is the right man to lead Europe.
Manfred ist einer, der die Fraktion zusammenhält, der
Manfred holds the parliamentary group together. He leads the way of the parliamentary group, and he is someone who somehow has a similar influence on all the different people's parties. And that, I find, speaks of his European mindset. And that is why I am convinced that he is the right one.
überzeugt, dass auch der Richtige ist.
Meanwhile, Marine Le Pen was a special guest at the campaign rally of the Belgian right-wing populist party Vlaams Belang. She stated that the European nationalist forces are about to form the so-called supergroup in the European Parliament and that the ruling parties of Hungary and Poland are invited. If Mr. Orban joins our group, all the better. But even if he doesn't, the supergroup will exist with or without him. It's up to Orban to see if he finds himself more in political coherence with members of the European People's Party who voted against him, who voted for the forced relocation of migrants to all EU countries, and who vote systematically for more power to the European Union and less power for nations. Le Pen also acknowledged that the ruling Polish party Law and Justice are unlikely to join the group due to a different stance on Russia, but claimed that it shouldn't be an obstacle for cooperation. We see that the Poland's ruling Law and Justice Party has the will to retain the leadership of their group in the European Parliament, but beyond these negotiations related to political organizations, the offer is on the table so we can constitute the very large group that we hope to form in the European Parliament. If Poland does not wish to have strong diplomatic relations with Russia, no one forces it to do so. But if Italy and France wish to have stronger strategic relations with Russia, we are free to do so. I believe that these discrepancies that may exist and that are the result of history must not have consequences on the possibility of the constitution of this very large group in the European Parliament. The results of the European elections will be in on May 26th, but it will take another couple of months before the new party groups are formed.
That's it for today. See you next time on Poland Daily. But stay tuned for the Poland Daily Weather Report, followed by the Poland Daily Business section.